I'm a disruptor. So like I'm more comfortable in what I am called to do now than I've ever been before. So when people ask me, how did you get to that place? I'm a disruptor. So what does that mean? For me is if it's not broken, break it. And I think that for me, I just want to give people permission to take the parts of their personality off the shelf and keep them with them rather than them collecting dust on a shelf somewhere. Sunday morning church is great, but people really need resources to live their life. I think that a lot of people's lives are the way in which they're going because they have never experienced adversity. I think a lot of times, especially in my seat of being a pastor, people believe that it's Jesus only, but I believe it's Jesus and. It's Jesus and therapy, Jesus and counseling. So yes, pray, but like go to therapy. But the church has tried to use Jesus as a Band-Aid. But when you read the Bible, Jesus was a disruptor as well. So Jesus doesn't just say pray. Jesus says pray, but like get up and do the work. There are a lot of a lot of preachers that are horrible pastors. Preaching is orative, it's cognitive, it's communicating from a raised position. But pastoring is shepherding. Pastoring is our church takes the biblical principles and the kingdom principles and we break it down into bite-sized pieces so that people don't just leave questioning or wondering what they're doing, but they actually have the actual application. After I walk through all of that, I answer the call to ministry because I received deliverance through therapy and prayer, but also therapy in Jesus Christ. And now it's like, okay, now pastoring and preaching will be easy because now all I'm doing is I'm selling somebody something that I eat every day. And a lot of people are therapists that don't believe in the practice. I am not perfect. Don't put me on a pedestal. I'm going to mess up at some point in time, but don't let me messing up turn you away from God. God is perfect. I'm just the guy he chose. And I think that if we abandon what God's plan is for us, we have to take on the full responsibility of what it turns into.
Welcome back to another episode of the CYR Podcast. CYR, just in case you don't know, stands for Changing Your Reality. Stands for, what do it stand for?
Well, one episode you say clean your room.
Clean your room. Look. I drew a blank on my own thing. That's the main one though. Yeah. Clean your room.
Yeah.
Right? Because when we clean our room, we clean our life.
Right.
That's what it's all about.
Right.
This is all about mental health, business, entrepreneurship, and getting people's stories out there in the hopes that it changes or inspires somebody that is watching. And today we are on the pod with my man.
Chill out, bro.
My boy.
Chill out, bro.
PJ. Josh.
Chill out, man.
My God, man. Hey, I've been seeing you around the city.
Yeah, let's get into that first.
Let's get into that.
Literally for like a decade. This is my camera. Literally for like a decade, there have been chirps just in the city. And I think that when we start talking about conversations like with timing and like divine intervention, I don't think that it was even correct for us to have met how we did before. Like this has been like absolutely perfect. I don't know if we have time for all that, but like
no,
get into it. The timing, the energy, I think like everything was right. So doing work in like the community or seeing each other at like different events, or like we were just talking about like Skyree's art, like any of like the basement parties that he used to have back in the day. It's almost as if like the timing was absolutely perfect for now that like in that time, like serendipitous. Right. Now we're sitting on two chairs, but like we're like actually another conversation, whole, complete, like all of the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed. So like we're like the most complete versions of ourselves now sitting in these two chairs. So like then we find out we go to the same gym and it was just like, what the heck? And then the conversation was like, man, why didn't we like link years ago? But it wasn't perfect timing. So I'm just grateful to be here, my friend.
Let me talk about how we even got linked in the gym, man. I remember I would just see, we would come in at the same time every day in the morning. Yeah. And I would see him and it'd just be a little head nod.
Yeah.
What's up?
It was, I can't say that. It was the brother nod. It was like, it's like, all right, I ain't out here by myself, you know. Yeah. You passed 72nd. It's like, all right, good to see you, brother. God, dog it, man.
But we would just keep on going, and I remember one day, like I was just on my Instagram or something, and you popped up.
Yeah.
And you were preaching. I'm like,
which I'm still getting used to.
Yeah, but hey, bro,
I'm still getting used to.
But it's fire.
Praise God, thank you, man.
It's fire. And I was just like, oh, this is dude from the gym. He's doing it like
Hold on. So I'm gonna keep looking. So for all y'all that are watching, I didn't realize until like maybe like 3 or 4 months into you guys coming to my church that some of like the young men that I mentor and that we disciple, they come to your practice.
Oh, I can't speak on that.
But have been coming but And
Yeah.
so it's like, so people might think like there might be like this underground railroad that the church has with this, but like once again, I think that God has a way of making sure that people that are necessary and needed are connected in some way, even if it's not through close proximity.
100%.
And I just want to say thank you. I just want to say thank you. So when you watch this, you're here right now, but when you watch this later, when you're editing this, I want to say thank you for the practice of counseling and therapy and mental health, because I think a lot of times, especially in my seat of being a pastor, people believe that it's Jesus only, but I believe it's Jesus and therapy, Jesus and counseling. Y'all ain't gonna like this. It's also Jesus and your psychotropics.
Come on. Hey, say that one more time.
It's Jesus and your psychotropics. It's Jesus and sleep. It's Jesus and a cup of coffee. Here it is. It's Jesus and maybe a crash out. But it's
and not or.
It's and the Bible. And I don't know if you've been here yet. You go here.
Go ahead.
Okay. So the Bible says that it's by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And I don't think that the Bible has any. I don't think that all these books that you have here in your office, all these books that I see used, I just took some of mine back because like I'm not using them.
Facts.
But paid $600 for a book I'm not using. Crazy. But the Bible says by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony, which means that God's blood, Jesus, like he created his blood with a caveat, meaning that his blood's full power comes with talking about it or doing something about it. So yes, pray, but like go to therapy.
Yeah.
Yes, pray. Most definitely.
Take the necessary action.
And go sit on somebody's couch. And somebody's couch is not auntie. It's not homegirl. Like it's somebody that literally has given their life to this practice, that like has given their life to the studies of the forefathers before them. Even though I know that there's stuff in those books you're like, this ain't it, but you got to learn it in order to bring. Hold on. Let me chill out. Anyway, I'm just grateful. I am just grateful for the connection, and that even if we wouldn't have had close proximity, your practice has really helped aid what I do from a pulpit with these young men and young ladies that probably sit in this room that are now experiencing freedom for the first time in their life ever.
I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, most definitely.
I appreciate that.
Most definitely. And we see each other in the hallway, and they're like, you know Payton? I'm like, yeah, it's the homie. Like, I see him deadlift. Like, that's my therapist. I'm like, oh, okay. Got you. I'm like, Bear Company? Like, yeah. Like, oh, that's you. And like, I don't know. I just never did the Google search, but now I'm sitting. And y'all, this facility.
Hey, let them know.
If you get an opportunity, and this is not glaze, this is not cap.
No, bro, glaze.
If y'all get an opportunity, the Bible says, here's another one. Do not despise small beginnings. This is not small. Any person that is trying to do it, because a lot of people talk a lot. We were just kind of talking about that. Yeah. People talk a lot about what they're going to do, but you really got to be careful with those brothers that move in silence. And if I wasn't pastoring, it would probably be something like this. Something where people can have a one-stop shop to get all of their needs taken care of, and we can give people a leg up on starting their own. So anyway, I don't know if that's the direction you wanted to go.
Hey, we went there, though.
That's a heck of an intro. That's a fire intro. Yeah. So
bro, I want to know,
here, man.
We want to know more about you, though.
Yeah, dude.
We want to know more about you. Like,
yeah.
How did you get into the realm of pastoring?
Yeah,
right?
Good question. So I was actually kind of thinking about this before. When I was filling out the form. Prior to, I always knew that I wanted to be in a seat of leadership that was pulling out the greatest of people and putting them in the right position. So I tell people this all the time. If I wasn't pastoring, I would be pastoring. If I wasn't in a church setting, it would be somewhere else. Because pastoring is not preaching. There are a lot of preachers that are
Dog.
We good?
Dog. Yeah, go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to. You've seen me on stage. I'm no different.
Hey,
okay.
Listen.
There are a lot of pastors. A lot of preachers that are horrible pastors. Preaching is orative. It's cognitive. It's communicating from a raised position. But pastoring is shepherding. Pastoring is. I've never heard of a shepherd that threw away sheep because they smell. I've never heard of a shepherd that sold sheep because they had a limp in their walk. A real pastor slows down the entirety of the herd to the speed of the slowest one. A good shepherd doesn't throw sheep away. So what if I wasn't in this position as the lead pastor of Ambassadors Worship Center, shout out AWC Nation and Drs. Martin and Linnell, God, I appreciate you.
Shout out.
Because had they not built it, I wouldn't have had a baton to receive. I would have been doing what I'm doing, pastoring somewhere else. So we are a 30-year ministry. We've coined that we are multicultural, multi-ethnic, and multi-generational on purpose. There are a bunch of different churches in Omaha, and I love every single one of them, but I put them second to what we're building for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, I don't know who would eat at a restaurant who doesn't believe, who would eat at an owner's restaurant who doesn't believe they have the best burger. Like, why would you, like, where do you put
Ours is number 2.
Like, what, why, like, I mean, we all right, but they're then why are you here? Our church takes the biblical principles and the kingdom principles, and we break it down into bite-sized pieces so that people don't just leave questioning or wondering what they're doing, but they actually have the actual application. So for me as a pastor, preaching is about 2 to 5% of it, but the other pieces of it is us being able to give in the community. And we do right now, it's kind of sexy for churches to be like, to put out how much they're giving. We don't necessarily do that. We tell our church, because the givers of AWC, and if any of y'all watching, I'm so grateful for the AWC Nation. We have built a culture where people's generosity, they have this expectation that if they do their part, God will do his, but also from what they give, we can actually serve the community that we're in. So when I was getting my master's, in public administration, my expectation was that I was going to be leading at a high level in a creative role somewhere, directing people, pulling out their potential. But when I got to finishing my schooling, I remember I finished my capstone, and a lady that was a director at UNMC had a job working in, it was a new position, because like we're in a new era now. Blue collar and white collar is different. Now people are being hired just to literally set culture in businesses. So my role was going to be like a culture incubator, which is like, that's fun, because for me, and you've walked through our church, everything is on purpose. How it looks, how it sounds, the aesthetics, like the wall wrappings, the flooring, like how we dress, the merch that we put out, even our language. So I was going to be doing that anywhere. It just happens to be now in church. God called me to it. Really wasn't rocking with it. Ain't gonna cap to you. If there's somebody else that could do it, I would hand off the baton right now. Oh, most definitely. I wanted to be a creative director, gang.
Yeah.
Can I say gang?
Yeah.
I'm a pastor, but like,
listen, you can say whatever you want.
Negro, I wanted to be a creative director for like Nike or for Apple. Like, I wanted to dress like this every single day in my meetings as CEO. I wanted to have the freedom to build my life. If the Bible says that I only got potentially 120 years of life, I want to live all of them comfortable. And I wanted to do it different. So and let me know if I'm over talking. I don't want to take over this.
No. Okay. You're good. You're good.
Because I don't know if this is anything that I put on the forum. I'm a disruptor. So like, I'm more comfortable in what I am called to do now than I've ever been before. So when people ask me, how did you get to that place? I'm a disruptor. So what does that mean? For me, is if it's not broken, break it. If it's working, we need to break it.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? Like,
which piece?
If it's not broken, break it.
Yeah, bro. If it's not broken, break it. So science tells us that if you break a bone, that there's a 98% chance that where you break the bone, it will never break there again. But also, a place where a bone is broken, it's also 98% stronger than the other areas that have never been broken. So, not telling anybody like to jump off a building and hope that your bones grow back, but it's the concept of, so case in point, with the staff that I get to work with, because they're not my staff. Yeah. They're not my staff. They are the staff. I'm working alongside them because we are a team. And there's a lot of areas that I suck at and where I'm dumb. So I hired a lot of smart people and I let them do their job. Anyway, but I have ADHD too. What were we talking about? Where stuff is broken? No.
What you started with, like what you would be doing if you weren't pastor and you want to be a creative director. Yeah. I'm a disruptor.
Yeah. I'm a disruptor.
There we go.
Right. So back. If something isn't broken, you should break it. The concept of why I think that is important is because I think that a lot of people's lives are the way in which they're going because they have never experienced adversity. So if the status quo were to never change, they would literally live their life at the level that they're at. So for me being a disruptor, when people ask me to disciple them, they ask me to mentor them, they ask me to walk with them and counsel them, I say, okay, the only reason why I'm going to be in your life is to totally jack it up. Because that's sometimes disaster and calamity is the only thing that will move people. right?
Yeah.
It's one thing to like pat you on the back. It's one thing to put, and it's not like malicious, but like case in point, if I, as a friend, in my head, this space is too small.
I agree.
Like you've already knocked out walls, and y'all, I'm really not any men at all, but any black man younger than 40 who has 11 kids,
12, bro.
who has 15 kids, who has a beautiful wife, who is also trying to pour into your babies to be exactly who God has called them to be, but also who you've called them to be, because they go hand in hand. You're also trying to build a life for your wife. And then you are also building a space where as you're walking through the office, you have the names of all these different therapists and people that work in social work here. I think people are going to be leaving. This is disruptive. This is disruptive. I think people are looking to be in a place that tells them that the doors are wide open for your potential. And I don't care who you turn into. I'm just here to help you turn into that. So for me, disruptiveness, if it's not broken, break it. Because I don't want, for me personally, I don't want to wake up at 80 and be like, dang, I wish I would have. No, let's break it right now. Let's not wait till year 25 in our marriage. Let's do it right here in year 5. What could we do to break it and then put it back together?
Yeah.
So anyway, if that makes any sense.
That's good. No, that makes all the sense.
Okay.
Man. That makes all
but
the
this,
sense.
I'm gonna keep saying it. This is not, and even walking into this space, because I was at the opposite end. And I was like, what the heck? Where am I at? 5858. And now walking through this space, it's even given me even more of a green light to do what I know I need to do, even though you don't even know what that is.
You want to tell us?
No, I can't tell you. I can tell you. I'll tell you. Off
the cut.
I'll tell you. But I think that for our church, AWC, the reason why we are where we are is because we provide people with ministry Monday through Saturday. Sunday morning church is great. But people really need resources to live their life.
Yeah.
People need, you good? I'm on your pod. I don't know.
Listen.
All right.
It's your world.
Life sucks, gang. Right?
Yeah.
And for the longest time, not just the black church, but the church has tried to use Jesus as a Band-Aid. But when you read the Bible, Jesus was a disruptor as well. So Jesus doesn't just say pray. Jesus says pray, but like get up and do the work. So I think that what things like therapy and counseling do, because it changed this, the reason why I'm able to say Jesus is because therapy and counseling to this day plays a massive part in my life. Massive part. I feel like I'm over talking.
You're not.
Okay.
You're not.
Therapy and counseling plays a massive part. If people can try to twist the word to say that marijuana was created by God so they should use it, it's
grown in the dirt.
So why can't we say therapy can do the same? Now, I'm not vouching for marijuana or alcohol, but if people can try to twist whatever they want cognitively to try to make things be medicinal, why can't therapy?
Yeah.
Why can't counseling? And I think that sometimes God will put a portion of himself in the therapist or in the counselor to pull something out of this clay pot that is our bodies that I think for a long time, and I'm not talking about the black community. It's Black History Month. I don't know when you're posting this, but it's February 28th. Like, I think that a lot of people, especially in our community, they refuse to allow people to see them. Because for the longest time, I think that some people think that what people will see will scare them. But I think that's great. I think that our raw emotions are great. If it terrifies you, sit in this is probably language you probably use. Sit in the feeling.
Yeah.
I'm 26. All right, gang, let's do it. All right, why not? I'm 26 years old. I've just graduated from my master's. No, I'm about to go into my master's. And like I hear the call of ministry, but I'm a church boy, right? I'm a PK, so I'm like, God, I'll do that, but it can't look like what I've seen. Not that it was horrible, but it just wasn't for me. I end up finishing my master's 4 years later. I'm sitting there giving the capstone. The lady at UNMC offers me this job. The money on the piece of paper is like crazy.
Nice.
It's nice. It's nice. Like, that's the reason why I know I'm in calling. You know that you're in calling when you're in purpose, when your hunger and your appetite changes. Because now my hunger and my appetite is not financial. Yeah. I'm very much so well taken care of. Could it be better? Most definitely. But now the itch that's being scratched right now can't be scratched with money. It's another conversation for another day. There's no amount of money that could make me switch what I'm doing right now. because I'm in calling. I'm fulfilling there's no parts of me that I have to leave on the shelf anywhere that I go. On this pod, I'm Joshua. In that pulpit, I'm Joshua. At the bank, I'm Joshua. I'm not Pastor Joshua over there, husband to my wife, father to my son. No, I'm all of me all the time. And I think that for me, I just want to give people permission to take the parts of their personality off the shelf and keep them with them rather than them collecting dust on a shelf somewhere. So that's all I've been wanting to do. So now I'm sitting there, and out of nowhere, I'm trying to make this decision on what I want to do with my life. And I was asthmatic prior as a kid, and I just can't breathe. And when I say can't breathe, like there's no oxygen that's coming through my airways. And even to this day, have you seen Inside Out 2?
Yeah, great movie.
Inside Out 2, I booed.
Great movie.
Like a baby. Because that was the first time that I've ever seen anxiety, which I was diagnosed with. I don't claim it. I don't say it's my anxiety, but I'm very much so aware that my body has a response trigger to anxiety. I'm not a very anxious person, but like for me, it happened with breathing, and I would literally like not be able to breathe. So then I end up going to the doctor. They end up diagnosing me with anxiety and all these different drugs. And I was like, okay, is there another like holistic way for me to do this? And they said therapy. And in that moment, I think this is what a lot of Black men deal with. In the moment that the resource is brought up, I think everything that we believe, true or false, comes into our mind to try to tell us that we don't need it. And as Black men, I'm good. Let me just drink some water.
Go wash some dishes real quick.
Hey, no, I gotta be here. No, I'm a man. And in therapy, long story short, there's a photo that I post on my Instagram all the time for every birthday that sitting in a setting much like this with a therapist. There's a photo of me when I was 7 years old where the therapist asked me to go and find a photo of myself when I was the most happy. And he said that when you look at the photo, when you find it, your soul will tell you. Because I think a lot of what you do is soul work. It's really like how a chiropractor gets people's muscles and their bones back into alignment. You're literally getting people's souls back in alignment. Like, because I think their cognitive and their conscious mind is disconnected from their soul. And we're just trying to get them to talk back to one another. Right? And like you are a pastor.
Trust me.
I
hear you.
You're a shepherd. You are leading people's souls back to their body. Like if you experience sexual assault, a lot of people leave their body and their soul and they're separated. And I know it's gonna suck. And this is why I tell people, I know it's gonna suck, but we gotta go back to when it happened. No, because you gotta go get her.
Yeah.
Like it happened to you when you were 7. You're 77, man. Like we gotta go get her. So in my time of therapy, I have this photo, and every time I look at this photo, the question that I'm asking anytime today is that version of Joshua happy with 32-year-old Joshua? Like what happened here, from here to where I am, from that moment to where I am now? How do I ensure that because in the picture I'm smiling, how do I make sure that I bring him everywhere? Because that's the goal. I don't want to be 85 and leave him in the past, even though there's some yucky stuff back there. But that version of me deserves to be here. So with anxiety, after I walked through all of that, I answered the call to ministry because I received deliverance through therapy and prayer, but also therapy in Jesus Christ. And now it's like, okay, now pastoring and preaching will be easy because now all I'm doing is I'm selling somebody something that I eat every day.
Facts.
And a lot of people are therapists that don't believe in the practice. A lot of people sell burgers and are vegan. A lot of people sell shoes and only wear sandals. I am a pastor sometimes I don't got nothing to give people because I ate it all myself. So for me, I'm not trying to sell people hope and freedom that I haven't experienced, that I don't need every single day. So pastoring for me, it's my life work, but I also have to lean on the fact that I have my parents, Martin and Linnell, who I have a living playbook that I can go back to. So the soul work that I do in pastoring was the same stuff that they did with me in parenting as a kid. So it's all new. And a lot of people don't realize that they are in turmoil, they're in calamity, or that they're in something that's not normal until they meet health. Because health is traumatic.
It really is. It really is. It's not the status quo.
Dude, I'm chilling. I'm on your part. I don't want to overtake. Hey, gang. I'll come and do this without a camera. There's something in this room, bro. This is nice.
Bro, you're not overtaking it. 'Cause
Okay.
I'm actually about to have you talking more, bro. This is what I want. I need you to know this. This is what I want. This is what they need.
Yeah,
man. They need to hear this stuff.
Yeah.
Bro, you're dropping gems. A couple of things that I want to touch on, man, because there's so many avenues that we could travel from just struggling with anxiety and having that and being able to work through it and overcome it, from growing up as a pastor's kid, from just all of these things. But I want to touch on that one.
Hey, I'm here. Open book.
Bro, what was it like growing up as a pastor's kid?
Man, it was the best and the worst of both.
Yeah.
It was cool because I think the reason why holistically I just love culture, the reason why I love ethnicities, the reason why I married a woman that speaks Spanish, the reason why I like to sit in like the tension of like racial conflict, because as a pastor for the church that I pastor, I don't have the convenience of not teaching the whole Bible, because I have Republicans and Democrats. I have racists and also Hebrew Israelites. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have the person that's heteronormal, and I also have same-sex attracted. So I have to teach this Bible not from a red stance or a blue stance. And that came from my parents being thrown into this culture where our church has always looked the way that it is. Black, white, Hispanic, as my daddy would say, chicken noodle soup. Like, it's a gumbo of people. So that literally shaped my worldview on there is no such thing as races. It's just the human race with different cultures in it. Growing up as a pastor's kid, though, it didn't become weird to me until I felt the call to become a pastor, because I wanted to do it different. My parents worked together and they worked phenomenally together. But I knew that for me, I didn't want to marry a pastor's wife. I wanted to marry a woman that was my wife, because there's vastly a difference. I wanted to have the luxury of coming home and her asking me how was work, and I could say, like, we don't even need to talk about it, rather than walking through the doors, why didn't you agree with me at the 9 a.m. meeting? Like, oh no. Like, so there's a different grace on men that can work with their spouse in their setting. I just didn't even want to like bring that tension in, only because of what I saw. It was good tension though, but I'm built differently than my dad. Being a pastor though, I've been through every single era in the last 30 years of people falling away from God, how politics has changed it, how social justice has changed preaching. But now I feel like people walk through the doors. Jonathan McReynolds said this on The Basement with Tim Ross, and I'll never, ever forget it. And I'm going to coin it. I don't know you, John. I've sat next to you once in Chicago, but you didn't know who I am. You probably still don't know, but I'm taking it after I mentioned it one time. He mentioned that now when a customer walks into when a client walks in to see you as a therapist, when somebody buys Kendrick's next album to listen to it, when somebody walks in to listen to me preach, now people are trying to decipher between these two polar opposites. It's either you're a superhero or you're a fraud, which is so dangerous, because now I'm not coming to see you as a therapist because I believe you can help me. I'm coming in to see if you can help me. There's a difference. There's one thing when I come here and I'm asking for help and I believe you can. It's another thing where I'm like, session 6 wasn't so good. I'm gonna give him 10 sessions and then I'm gonna believe if he can help me or not. So, growing up as a pastor's kid, I didn't want to be in this position because of how people treat pastors. And I can go on that all day. Like, the people can come dirty, the people can come and slip and fall, but let me mess up, I'm cooked. As if I'm trying to sell people a grace that I don't need every day. I need the same grace. So now and this is the funny thing from my experience is very, very privileged. Many of the pastors that are being exiled and thrown away, I know them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Okay, let me use a name. Let me use a name that's not even out there. I don't know. Like, shoot. Jacoby. I don't know a pastor named Jacoby. I have a good friend named Jacoby. Right. Love you, gang. It's not about you. But like, when people are like, the lights say, pastor such and such cheats on his wife, blah, 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 blah. Then like, there's a whole documentary that comes out. In my head, I'm like, I know him. Like, this job is hard. Like, you don't think that sometimes, like, yes, it's still sin. Yes, it's still sin. Yes, God is not happy. But like, how is that any different than he helped you redeem your marriage when you cheated on your wife with multiple women and a man? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and not to throw shade, but it's like the grace that so that was like the biggest thing being a pastor, is that being a pastor's kid was the best of worlds because I got thrown into this culture. But when it became time for me to choose if I wanted to do it, I'm like, God, is there any other way? Like, but now, because of how I was raised, my parents really protected me and my sister from a lot of the church mess, from church people, from church drama. So my experience was extremely healthy. But being a pastor's kid is, a lot of people say I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. It wasn't a struggle. It wasn't terrible, but there are some days, you know, because my parents were traveling a lot too. So they would go to Nigeria, they would go to Germany, they were traveling a lot. But I think that it really set me up because I got to see purpose displayed. My dad had a conversation with me once as a kid. He says, okay, do you love me? I was like, yeah. He's like, do you think that daddy loves you? I'm like, for sure. He's like, do you like how daddy provides for you? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, well, in order for daddy to provide for you, that means that sometimes daddy's not going to always be here to be right here with you. So I learned that early. So I never felt abandoned, but now I have the choice that I need to make with my little one because he's now 18 months, which is crazy, dude.
Man,
which is
getting into everything, huh?
Dude, which is a whole man. What? He's walking and talking, bro. Which is another conversation because something happened with me when he was born that my mental, emotional space had to go right back to therapy. I'm like, what is happening? Anyway. So being a pastor's kid has its ups and it has its downs, but I think that whoever God chose to be your parent or to be your life giver, regardless of how you feel about it, it was all purpose and planned. And I think that if we abandon what God's plan is for us, we have to take on the full responsibility of what it turns into. So for any person, yeah, my dad's a crack kid. There's a plan there. We don't know what it is. We don't see it. Or, hey, which I've had to help people pastor them through. Like I am the byproduct of sexual assault. Like that's a tough response to be like, if God allowed it, he's going to use it. Because that's hard to hear. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't even know who my dad is. If you put him in a lineup, if you put him in a room and it was him and another guy, I wouldn't even know which one it is. And that's a 50-50 chance, you know? But I wouldn't pick a different route. I mean, I couldn't even if I wanted to, but I wouldn't pick a different route because I believe like I'm perfectly placed and I trust God, man. But I trust God now in my faith because there were a lot of seasons where it was just like I told God the truth. Like, I'm really not rocking with you. That's all prayer is. Prayer doesn't have to sound like the New King James. You ready? Here you go. Yeah. This is what prayer can sound like. God, you suck. People just logged off right now. I know you did. I know you did. The conversation going crazy.
They're not ready for it.
And I don't even care. Get me on Instagram. Listen, like, God, you suck. Read it. It's in the Bible. There's a whole book on Lamentations. Lamenting, which is basically to look at your life and look at it as poop and be like, what?
Crying out.
What is this? And the perfect thing about the ending of Lamentations, and me and one of the I say my coworker, I'm his boss, but his name is Brandon. He does what we're doing right now, like the podding and the video. We have a conversation that many of those stories that people are talking about, like in the Bible, like there's not a happy ending at the end, and I think that's beautiful because I think that we as a people are losing our ability in the art of struggle. We're losing the ability to suffer well. The Bible says, how could we ask to join in God's glory and not also join in his suffering? There's a necessity to hardship. You are not who you are. And at some point, you're going to have to tell your whole story because I know there's one there. You are there. There's no smile. There's no amazing, immaculate, like physical transformation, mental transformation, the weight that you've lost, like all of the spark plugs in your mind firing off at the same time. There's no way that all of that happens without a deep well of pain. Why doesn't everybody tell us you're going to be progressive, you're going to be phenomenal? Cool. But by the way,
you about to go through some shit.
And some of it you're not going to be able to wash off in the shower. Cuz like there has to be like this perpetual smell of what you walked through so you never forget what you walked through. So I don't think that people have the ability to look at the value of struggle because there are some people that their sexual addiction, I believe, is the fuel that makes them who they are.
Ooh, go there. Go there.
I think that people's alcoholism is actually the fuel that makes them who they are.
Keep going.
Their drug addiction is the fuel that makes their sex addiction. Like all of the stuff that the world is like, you got to get rid of that. Okay, Bible. Paul says, he asks the Lord, hey, this pain that I have, can you take it away? God doesn't take his pain away. God's response to him is, hey, gang, no, my grace is sufficient. What does that mean? That means that sometimes what we are struggling. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I feel the presence of God. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm a church boy, bro. Like, I think that sometimes what we are walking through and the pain that we have is actually proof that we need a savior. No, I can't take care. I'm not going to take care of alcoholism. That's not my thing. Being addicted to pornography, like God, what people say, like I got prayed for at the end of service. No, I don't have a taste for pornography. That's not me. That's not me.
It's hitting even harder.
Nigga, what? Every single time I don't watch pornography, it's not just because I have willpower. It's because I took it to God in prayer. So when Paul says that like a ball and a chain, like I have tethered myself to the gospel. When he asks the Lord to take the thorn away, I think God says, no, I like that. Your little anger issue? No, because if I fix that, you won't need me. So I like that. Rather, let me give you the tools to have power under control, because that's all it is. People say that Jesus was a punk. No, Jesus was meek and mild. What does meek mean? Meek means I have the ability to air out this entire facility, but I'm not. What we teach men, specifically men, women can learn it too, but we teach men how to know that they have power and dominion, but to walk like a lamb, oh, you're cooked. The world is done for. There's no chance. So I think that if a person is struggling through alcoholism, there is power in the addiction that they would not have unless they had the issue. So I think that's why our church is growing, because we're come as you are. Yes, you smell like a fifth. Cool. Get on this camera. Yeah, the camera shots are going to be wobbly, but I'm not about to throw you away for an addiction because I'm your pastor. I have one too. And the foot of the cross is level.
We all right there.
There's no tier list. I don't get a higher tier as a pastor. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get cooked the worst because I'm responsible to preach this word in a way that if your children end up doing crazy things in the streets, there's judgment for them, but the community and we're looking at, what did you do to these babies? You're the father, you're the king, you're the one that wears the crown until you pass on and hand it over to your son. I'm not looking at the kids. I'm looking at where did this come from? So I think that for any person that's watching today, if it's on social media, wherever this goes, I think that it's extremely important for people to no longer look at what they are struggling with as an issue, but looking at it as potential fuel. If you could harness the pain of alcoholism, darn near, if you could harness the pain of your sexual assault, because then whatever happened to you equips you to go and talk to people. I cannot talk to people about alcoholism. I don't understand alcohol. I got stuck with the tab once. I paid $700 for like 15 drinks.
You said never again.
I'm like, and then accidentally, like, how much of this you got to drink for it to be right? I'm cool. I'd rather buy an Xbox or this really cool gadgets and whatnot. By the way, you're starting a podcast with like the pristine.
Yeah, got to.
Yeah, there's no like, it's only up from here. But as a pastor, my thing is people say like, hey, can you help me? And I say, I can't help you. Let me help you. What happened? Well, my dad left me. What you are desiring is hidden in your abandonment. But I don't like it. Stop running away. Like the answer that you need to now is in the middle of abandonment, and we gotta go there. But it's scary. Trust me, we gotta go there.
They don't like hearing that. Clients don't like hearing that.
I'm a client. I can pray all day, read the word, but there are some days, fetal position. You feel me?
Yeah.
Sweating it out. Happy, got a son, living in a house that I should not be in, but by the grace of God, you don't think that there are days where I'm like, Jesus, I need you. And I think that God is like, yeah, I like that. Because God needs us to need him. He wants us to need him. He brings us to a level of life that we couldn't get to by ourselves in hopes that we would just turn around and be like, I need help. And I think that's the issue. A lot of people know that they need help, but their pride won't allow them to ask for it. Okay, I'm sorry. We'll be here all day.
Nah, bro.
We'll be all day.
Everything that you saying, we need to hear. We need to hear something big that you hit on. It's like we all have that story.
Yeah.
We all have that thing. And in the moment that we begin to realize that our story or that thing or that experience that we went through is actually the little piece, the missing link in solving like what our life's purpose truly is.
Exactly.
Like everything changes.
Exactly.
And so I guess a question for you that I have,
okay,
and I want you to elaborate on is just like, what was that piece for you? You mentioned pornography, but is that it?
Oh, okay. You want to go there?
Let's talk about it.
Let me adjust my pillow. So, okay. Yeah, let's go there. So I literally recently actually said this from the pulpit, and bro.
Hey, it was fire, by the way. I was there.
Them people. And I'm like, stop looking at me in that tone of voice. I am not perfect. Don't put me on a pedestal. I'm going to mess up at some point in time, but don't let me messing up turn you away from God. God is perfect. I'm just the guy he chose. I don't know why he chose me. Wish he chose somebody else. But I think that, so the Bible says that sexual sin is different than other sin, because other sin, if based off of the Bible, Joshua Williams is not saying this. The Bible is saying this. Once again, I am not saying this. The Bible says this. So don't come from me. Look up. Okay. The Bible says that there are many different sins: gluttony, pride, anger. But then when it talks about sex, it's a different type of sin, because it's a sin that you don't just commit against the person and God, but you commit against yourself. Sexual sin is an internal, it's an internal deviousness. If I shoot somebody, I've shot them, the bullet has entered them. But when I have sex with someone, based off of how God created it, our souls are intermingled. So growing up, I wasn't sleeping with a bunch of people, but I was heavily watching pornography, and it created a pride in me that said this: well, at least I'm not sleeping with people. This is something that I can control. And one of the worst things about church people is that we can become extremely prideful, because then what we do is we take what one person is dealing with, what another person is dealing with, and what we're dealing with, and we put it on.
At least it's not as bad as.
At least I'm not having babies out of wedlock. But had you told me that watching pornography, even though I was introduced in a traumatic way, I was introduced by a friend, and then had to live life with this friend around, not realizing that the reason why I'm sick, the cancer, is because of a relationship. But if you would have told me at 11 that this is going to be something that you're going to potentially have to carry until 32, and not saying that when people say that, people think like they've been watching pornography that entire time, but like those images, because I'm a visual person, so my brain can, it's like a, do you remember, we did them in grade school, the little, time capsule. Remember that? Like you put the stuff in it and you lock it up. I'm going to open this up when I'm 50. But like, if you would have told me that at 11, that when I'm standing in therapy before I marry this woman that is my wife, Vanessa, if you would have told me that while we're sitting in therapy on a couch like this with a therapist and counselor, that what I watched at 11 would potentially wreak havoc on the relationship that I love a person with, oh man, I would have made a different decision. So for me, I found out that the root of my addiction to pornography was really control. And people, it has nothing to do with sex. Yes, it does. But my desire was to have control, because before, pornography is a woman that doesn't say no, that looks exactly how you want her to look. She can speak whatever language you want. But there's a trajectory with any person that is watching those suggestive themes, that at some point in time, you watch that one video where after you're done watching it, you're like, what in the world am I watching?
Yeah.
Like what, and that's on different levels for people. So then what I found out was that going through my journey of becoming totally severed from that issue was that there were skills that came out of that I immediately found out what my purpose was. My purpose, the only reason why I'm here on earth, my purpose and my calling is to make very difficult processes very easy to understand. So now, so when somebody comes to me and they tell me, hey, Joshua, I'm an alcoholic. I've never drank a day in my life, but I have been addicted to pornography. So now how do we take these tools that I've learned personally, unlicensed at the time, how do we take these tools along with the Bible to help people go back into their addiction, go back into their abandonment, and get what God had for them in that moment to bring it out to become tools? Because that is something that I think that a lot of people are being choked out in this world, because they refuse to go back to the highest level of their pain because they don't want to feel it again. But there's a level of tolerance that increases when you go back to what happened and you bring that with you. Like, does not the version of you that was hurt deserve to feel freedom? Like, why would you leave him there? Like, no, because when you refuse to deal with the issue, if it happened to you at 6, happened to you at 7, happened to you at 30, if you're 50, don't you believe that the 30-year version of you deserves to be free and the 50-year version of you? Go get him.
And when you don't go get him, you think you're going crazy because that version of you is constantly fighting to come out every single time it gets triggered. And you're like, I don't know why I feel like this. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm thinking like, I don't know why. And it's that version of you that you left back there.
It's eternally being tormented. There's a version of you that's eternally being tormented in abandonment. Go get him.
What was that process like for you?
Man, what, dude? It was terrifying. It is terrifying. It's traumatic. It sucks. But God says he'll be with you, man. And I've just been through too much, and I've learned too much about myself, and I have way too many victories based off of what God has brought me through, what therapy has brought me through, what counseling, what talking with a really good friend has brought me through. I have way too many victories. I have way more victories than I do have losses. So I trust the process. Even though I know it's going to hurt, I trust the process. I trust the process. So I'm able to look at the shelf of my life, and I'm able to see all these victories that through prayer and fasting and spending time with people and loving on people and people loving on me, that now whenever I know I need to go back and do my soul work, yeah, it's going to suck. It might be a different type of pain, but I can justify this pain and reconcile this pain because I look at the victories. And I'm just about to add another trophy. And I think that if we changed our mindset in the mental health space to whenever I get through something, it's like a badge. It's like another title. That's the reason why if somebody won the Super Bowl once, why do they keep going back again and again? Because this one is different than the last one. Yeah. Right? People are like, oh, you're just being prideful. If me becoming a better version of me is prideful, I'll be prideful today. If me being healthy is arrogant, then I'll be arrogant. Because what I'm finding is that the people that are the most dangerous are the people around you who never expected and never wanted you to heal because they like this version of you that's broken.
Complacent.
I like this version of Payton that's broken. I can manipulate him. I can get whatever I want out of him. Then one day Payton tells me that he's going to drop the money. I'm going to keep coming back to this. Yeah. This is like the 6th time. Like this man has 30 kids.
44, bro.
67. It's going up, bro. By the time I go to meet the Lord, this man got 1 million children. How much, people don't talk about this, the pain of progress. How much does it pain you to pay for this equipment?
Oh, bro.
Like people see all the stuff and they're like, oh, you just got a contractor. You probably painted these walls. You probably laid this carpet. There were probably many nights that you couldn't go on a date night with your wife. You were here. Many nights that your children weren't hungry, but you probably didn't eat because you were up all night. Like because you have this thing in your soul that you see when you sleep. You see when you close your eyes. You see when you're using the restroom. You see like when you see other people doing what you're supposed to do, it pisses you off. It's just like, that's supposed to be me. So I don't think that everybody has had the opportunity to be that dogmatically, disgustingly, like ethically driven towards something that they have to get out of their body. I just made my disgusting work ethic fixing me. I don't hold unforgiveness. It doesn't hurt me to apologize. I'm not a pride. I've literally had to kill pride because man, life is too short. And all of us got that black auntie that has hate in her heart for somebody that she don't even remember what even happened. Mm-hmm. She 40 looking 78 years old. Oh no, bro. I'm sorry, gang. My bad. I apologize real quick. So that moment of going through that to finish, like to close the loop on that, the pain of going through that, it was necessary because the pain reminded me that I need a savior.
I love that, bro.
Pain is good. There's a book called Necessary Pain. I forget the writer, but it talks about how like there are certain levels of your psyche, certain levels of your cognitive ability, certain levels of your financial wealth that you'll never get to. If you've never had to eat Vienna sausages, if you've never had to like choose which bill to pay, your hunger is different than a person that's had a silver spoon. A person that has a silver spoon, they can ask daddy, right? But a person that, like, my hunger is different. You feel me? Like it's just like, I'm not eating Vienna sausages because it's vintage. You know what I'm saying? I'm not eating grits and eggs every day because this is, when I was born, my parents were coming out of bankruptcy. So when people see me now with like the stuff, Because people will always judge your now. They have no idea. People like, you're an overnight sensation. I'm cool with you saying that as long as you say that the night was 25 years.
Ooh.
Sure, I was an overnight sensation, but the sun didn't come up for 20 years. Going through that, it proved to me that nobody's a lost cause. Even the person that's schizophrenic, even the person that's same-sex attracted, even the person that is dealing with sexual trauma, regardless of what they're going through, nobody is worth throwing away. Why? Because my therapist showed up every day. Every time I walked in, that person was there. So like, I know I'm crazy. I know I'm going through stuff, but this person is telling me there's hope. You're not too crazy for me not to show up. And I think that a lot of people in our lives, the hope that they need is just for us to show up. So I don't want to show up unhealthy. The best thing I can do for somebody is show up healthy. Hey. So as a pastor, now all I'm doing is I see, it doesn't matter how old they are. When I'm up there on that stage, bro, when I'm in my office, when I'm counseling folks, all I see is little children all the time. I see 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 2-year-olds, and they're 50, 70, 80 years old. And all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take this 80-year version of you and try to reintroduce it to the 8-year-old. Because then once that happens, there's like, you've been in the room. You've literally, when it breaks, like when somebody's dissociative thought process, when it actually breaks and they actually are reintroduced to joy.
It's pure.
Oh,
it's pure.
What? And that's what I was saying earlier. There's no amount of money that will take away what that is. That it's when they walk into your office or you see them on a Sunday morning, like, Pastor Joshua, I forgave my father.
That's good.
I forgave him. Like for real forgave him. Yeah. I know I'm never going to get the I'm sorry. I know he's never going to do this and that. I've settled it. I've come to peace with whatever's going to happen. I'm hopeful that it happens, but now I'm not predicating my happiness on a variable I can't control. I can't control my father. I can't control what he's going to say, but you know what I can control? I forgave him. Dude, I'm a crier, bro. I be booing because that's it. The goal of pastoring is to lead people to a place where they really don't need me anymore. Yeah. They're not my people. I can't say that, Pastor, my people, my congregation. No, these are the people. I don't want these people. No. You are the Lord's. My job as a pastor is to shepherd you. I'm here just to guide you to where you're supposed to go. And once you get free, to release you back into the hands of the Lord.
Man, I love that. For real. One point that I want to hit on.
This platform is so fun. This is fun, man.
Bro, you bringing heat.
This is lit. No, dude, there's oil in these walls, bro. You've created something here. I don't even know if you, any of you that are watching this that are on the calendar, just when you get the opportunity, if I ever see you, if I ever say, I told you so, you know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. This is different.
Facts. One thing you mentioned, bro, you were just talking about pain.
Yeah.
And having necessary pain. Actually, one of my guests, Johnny No Good, he came on and he was talking about like there's a piece of pain that you have to experience. Mm-hmm. You have to. And in my practice, something that I tell my clients a lot of the times, because a lot of them, and you probably know this too with counseling people in the church as well. Yeah. Like individuals will come to this place where they're stuck. Mm-hmm. And they're like, it's too hard to do the next thing.
Right.
But I point out to them, I'm like, okay, it's too hard to do the next thing, but it's also too hard to go back to where you're trying to get away from as well too. And so we have these two types of pain. We have the pain of stagnation and we have the pain of growth. And I equate it to, because I played sports. And so it's like, I remember like being in the weight room, you got to work out for football and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And if you go a long time without lifting and you try to get back into lifting, let's say leg day, you ain't did legs in a minute. You go, you do legs, you kill them. That next day, it's hard to sit on the toilet. It's hard to get up from it. It's hard to do anything. You walk around looking like Bambi.
Cooked. Can't even dry, bro.
But that's the pain of growth right there.
Yes.
That is the pain of growth. That feeling that you have indicates like I'm tearing my muscles up. They're breaking down, which means they're about to rebuild.
Right.
And it's going to take just a couple more weeks for this pain to be here. And then I'm going to be Gucci.
Exactly.
But the other one is I'm just not going to go to the gym at all.
Right. And that's painful too.
That's pain, but not in the moment. And that, I think a lot of us get stuck in that, because when I don't do anything right now, I don't have to experience it right now in this moment. My pain is not instant.
Right.
It's a slow cook.
Right.
It's that brisket that you leave in the smoker. You don't know
2 days.
You don't know if it's tender till it's tender till you open that thing up and you're like, dang, 5 years later, if I only would have. Man, I didn't make amends with my mom. I was so close with my mom growing up. She did this thing and I didn't talk to her at all. And now she's gone. And I'm stuck with this. And I'm stuck with it's that long-term pain that we don't realize has even more of an impact on us than that pain of growth. And so I always encourage people, just push through that pain of growth. Push through it.
Exactly. There's a book called Necessary Endings. Dang. I don't want to. Well, there's a book called Necessary Endings, but let me give you other. Have you read? I'm looking to see if you got it. Yeah. Have you read The Speed of Trust?
No. Who's it by?
I think it's Stephen Covey.
Okay.
I think it's Stephen. I listen to a lot of books, so I'm like,
facts.
I don't know what. But the book, it's geared towards, do me right.
Yep.
I don't want to lead nobody astray. The pastor had me reading the wrong book. My bad, bro. But in the book, it talks about how if we can increase our level of trust, then we can move further faster. The reason why people's marriages are failing or they don't have a certain level of happiness is because they don't trust each other. The reason why a business doesn't work is because the coworkers and the people that are kind of creating the tapestry of how the business is supposed to run don't trust each other. So what I found while reading that book is that there's a part in like the end of the book, the ending part of the book, where the writer talks about how at some point in time, we're going to have to learn how to trust pain. Now, as I'm reading, I'm like, what are you talking about? He says, you're going to have to start to trust. You're going to have to trust pain. Like when you're sitting at a stoplight, how do you know when it's time to go? Light turns green. How do you know that your food is done in the microwave? There's a ding. So what if we could terraform our brain to disassociate how we used to see pain? What if, rather than seeing pain as something that is a deterrent that we don't want to walk through, what if we saw pain as the same as the ding in the microwave?
Indicator.
What if we saw pain as the green light? Because I'm a huge gamer and I see the Xbox controller, so I'm cool. If I saw a PlayStation, I would have felt away. Just kidding. But like one thing that happens with kids and in being in church, they're iPad kids. They just be on the iPad all day. Like they're not even listening on the iPad. I get it. I'm now being a parent. I get it. Yep. Is it a cop out? For sure. But I get it. I get it. As long as it's gremlin ain't all over the place. But there are some kids that I was playing with after church. These are church kids too. Their parents are in the ministry. And they were playing this game and they were playing like levels 1 through 5. And I left them on level 4. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Next week, they were playing through 1 through 5 again. Came back, playing through the same levels. Next week, I'm like, okay, what's going on? I'm like, hey, why don't we play level 6? And the kid looks at me, I swear, he looks at me, he's like, I've never gotten that far. I'm like, well, why? He's like, well, that's too hard. I'm like, well, you're not tired of playing level. You know exactly where all the gems are. You have all the achievements. You know where all the bad guys are. Like your character is beefed up to level 15, but you're still playing level 1. I'm going somewhere. Like what? Why don't you're level 15? That means that until you get to level 15, like you can cook level 10, 11, 12. And what I started to see is that a lot of people have mastered the level that they're on, but they've over leveled the level that they're on. They're level 30 in their experience, but they're living on level 10 because it's safe. So I think that a lot of people are not pushing forward because they're afraid of the pain necessary to get to that point. And playing video games, which is a huge part of my pastime, you always know that you're going in the right direction when you run into resistance.
Start getting cooked on COD.
You know you're going in the right direction when you start dying a lot. So what a lot of people do, they don't move forward. They play the last level. They're on level 1 in their marriage, been married for 15 years. You have 15 years of experience, but you won't move forward. They're in level, I know y'all hate when a pastor talk about money, but it's in the Bible. He said it. Look up, don't look at me. We're about to walk into a whole sermon series about this. But like, I think the reason why people hate prosperity is because they are okay with their finances. As a pastor, I am not. There are places I have not seen my wife in a bikini, and I need money to go there.
Come on.
What? If I want to have kids, I want all of my children to have their own room, and I don't want it to be the size of a closet. I want that bedroom to be big. If you call me prideful for that, take it up with God, because he said it in his word in red.
Do you believe, or on this point, do you believe people truly are okay? Or is it that people just truly don't believe in themselves enough to be able to reach that, and it's under the guise of being okay?
I think keyword guys. I think the answer to that is yes. More so, I think 80% of it is that people really believe that there is a life that is out there that they desire to have that they don't have any business wanting. So if I like your shoes, but I don't think that I can have them, for sure I'm going to be upset that you have them. And I'm going to create this whole world view that anybody with those shoes thinks that they're better than me. Whereas this is what I found out. So my mentor, who has cartoonish amount of money. And when I say cartoonish, I watched this man sign a check for a cartoonish amount over. They were eating not Subway. They were eating Jimmy John sandwiches. Him and his colleagues. He signed this check, and he let me hold the check. For some people, they would feel the way, but for me, it showed me what was possible. Don't show me that you can have a marriage where like you actually love your wife and you love having sex with your wife alone. Don't show me 10,000 square feet and you can own it and own the house and you ain't paying no rent. Don't show me that you can go on a vacation. One time we went on a cruise, bro. We were there for 7 days and these people, they stayed on the boat. You're supposed to get off the boat. Like, yeah, we're on this boat for another week and then we get off this boat and get on another boat. I'm like, okay, now that I've been, because this is all it is. There are levels to this thing. And now for some people, when they see the level, they immediately look inwards and think I don't deserve it. But I'm a type of person, if you show me that there's a level, that means that somebody deserves that level. Why not me? Why not me? Don't mess. Yeah, don't. That's why walking through this space in my head. So pastoring is what I do, but like, there's another itch that's like scratching. I'll tell you what I wasn't going to tell you earlier.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
Walking through this shows me that I can do both. Because as I'm walking through here, I'm looking, and we were here with another gentleman, but I'm looking at all the names on the walls. I'm like, okay, Joshua, if you found the right people, it's going to be easy. So I think that for a lot of people, they don't believe that they deserve it. So then they create a worldview that says, if I don't think I deserve it, anybody else that does have it thinks they're better than me.
Where does that come from?
I don't know. Lack, poverty, and poverty is not an amount of money. Poverty is a mindset. You know what I'm saying? It's the concept of like, case in point. I have family members. I have friends of mine. I don't like broken stuff. I hate broken stuff. If something in my car breaks today, I'm taking it to the shop today. I'm gonna get it fixed. And other people would say, friends and family would be like, man, you bougie. No, I just don't like broken stuff. There's levels. When you come into my house, take your shoes off. Oh, you uppity. No, I don't like dirty carpet. And then you ask me to come over to your crib, take your shoes off. You see this carpet? Am I the only one that's ever had to take this? I'm not about to dirty it. I'm about to burn my sock. But there's levels. There's levels. And if you ever get an opportunity to see a level that you want to live on, isn't it awesome when you see people living at a level that you're not at, how comfortable they are? Like, we don't think about that. I want that. So rather, I see it as fuel. And I think that people's lives and the people around them and their situations and their own self-doubt has taught them not to believe that there's a level of life that they don't deserve to have. The reason why I don't like broke stuff is not because of me. My dad hated broke stuff. Toys of mine that were broken. I had a He-Man, bro. I had a He-Man. I remember. It's like 98, 99. It was the one like when you squeeze his legs together, his chest would get big.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
and then his chest would get big and he would slash the sword.
Yeah.
I lost the sword. My dad threw the toy away. But as a 32-year-old man, I get it now. He's like, you lost the sword, therefore this toy is useless. Why? It's broken. So let's go get another one with the sword. It's incomplete. So now how can you turn that into my spirituality, my mental health? How do I turn this into anything that's in my life that's broken? I just want to make sure that it's fixed. I don't want my son to get used to having to open the door at a certain angle, at a certain speed to open the car door. Because now I'm training him to work around stuff that should just work. And I think a lot of people, it's easier to hate on people than it is to go through the hurt and pain to get to their level. So I think a lot of people, especially in church, God wants us all to suffer. Show me in the book, bro.
Yeah.
Like, show me.
You don't talk about that.
Show me.
I think a verse a lot of people will use is like the meek will inherit the earth.
But meek does not mean humble.
Yeah, no.
Meek is power under control. And the way in which our world is going, prayer is not going to be enough. The Bible says that money answers all things. I know y'all already coming from me. I feel you. But people say like the love of money is the root of all evil. Not true. It's the love. And when you look at that word love, it is the satiated, unpalatable desire and taste for money. That is evil. Money is not evil. How would your life, any person watching, even you, how would your life change if you had $1 million right now? No strings attached. Do whatever you wanted to do with it.
Oh, yeah, we up.
Man, what? People, money doesn't make you happy. You've never had enough then. You've never had enough. It doesn't matter if you are sitting there walking through the worst tragedy in the world. Somebody gives you 10 bands, just gives you 10 bands. No strings attached, nothing weird. All right, I'm cool. That's what we should do. Every person that goes through a heart breakup, here's 10 bands. You'd be like, all right, she'll be all right. Man, your 4 tires go out. Here you go. Here's 50,000. Oh, I'm gonna buy a new car.
Game changer.
It changed the game. So I think that I have to learn how to help people disassociate evil from money. Money is just a resource, just like water and air that God gives to us. Now, if you fall in love with anything, too much of it is bad. But money is not a bad thing. And I think a lot of people are just afraid. They're afraid of what they see in their head. I'm just trying to help people embrace what they see in their head and to see that it's not just possible, but it's also God. The Bible says that it is his good pleasure to bless you. What father wants their child to struggle? We call him Father God. You really think that he's not going to give you? No. So I think a lot of people, they're disassociating their finances with what they've experienced in their life. And because I've never had it, then it has to be bad. No.
I think something that you mentioned in there too, man. That's what you're saying is fire. It's fire. A lot of people don't put themselves in places where they have those experiences where it's like, this is possible. Growing up in this city, there's a lot of people who never even left the city.
Do you want to know something crazy? I thought that was a joke. Because people say, like, you get on off it, you don't get off it. Yeah. Like, you come to off it, you don't leave. And, like, it's too comfortable here. Like, we're the good life for the reason. Like, we're the number one, y'all know this, we're the number one city to start a family, to grow a business, and to, like, live a decent life. On Forbes, CNN. Please don't move here, though. Like, people are like,
we don't need that.
We don't need,
y'all making the prices go up. My mortgage done.
Yeah, bro. I don't want to become, do you know that DFW, they say in the next, like, 10 years is going to meet Houston? It's going to be one metroplex.
Crazy.
That's crazy, bro. Crazy. No, don't come to Omaha. Like, but I think it's, like, so good here that people they go to ooh, Jesus.
Go there.
They go to the gas station. They go to work. They go to Sally's. They go to Dollar General. They go home. They go to work. They go to Sally's. They go to the corner store. They go home. They might switch it up and go to a concert downtown. But, like, I'm in my neighborhood, and I think that this is all that there is. And I think that when your worldview is only as far as you can see, then that's how people become racist. When your worldview is only as far as you can see, that's how people begin to hate on people that have more than them. When your worldview is only as far as you can see down the block, then when you watch the news, you can think that us bombing a country to the Stone Age is, well, it's just their problem. No, like the Bible says that the fullness of the world is the Lord's, but it's also our oyster. So when I meet people in Omaha that literally have this mindset, oh, I can't go past 72nd. That's where white people live. I don't, like, why? Like, who told you that lie? I live past 72nd. I live past 156th. Like what? Like, who told you? Why did you believe it? Now, hear me. Like, I mean, North Omaha all day, South Omaha. I mean, our city is phenomenal. But there are some things you will never understand about yourself until you put yourself in pain positions. Yes, man, I can't go on no cruise. You know how much that's going to cost? Yeah, but do you know what you're going to see? Do you know what you're going to feel?
What you're going to experience?
What you're going to experience? Sex with my wife here in Omaha is phenomenal. You don't think that it's different in Cancun? You don't think it's different in Jamaica? You don't think it's different in Costa Rica? You don't think it's different in a place where she doesn't have to worry about anything, where we don't have to pay for our food, we don't have to pay for our drinks, we don't have to pay for anything. I can take my son to the day camp. He's there all day. It's 89 degrees. The water is perfect. You don't think that life is like, I can do all that here in Omaha. No, you can't. Yeah. Cocoa Keys got torn down. That's not the same. The DoubleTree is not the same. The Gallagher Pool is not the same. So what my father taught me this, Martin taught me this. It's like when you show somebody a certain life, if they are resistant, leave them there. I'm only taking the people that are hungry. But yeah, you don't know what you have. And it just breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. Like, yeah, there's more than the Holland. Like, you know that there's this thing called Broadway in New York. I saw Lion King on Broadway. Lion King comes to Omaha.
That's probably fire.
Broadway comes to Omaha.
Yeah.
Lion King came to Omaha. I've seen it a couple times as a kid. You don't think it's a different show in Broadway, in New York, in Manhattan? Then after seeing that, I'm like, what other things haven't I experienced? But I think that a lot of people, whenever they see something they haven't experienced, you have a split decision. Am I going to be angry and upset? Or am I as an individual going to see it that if it's out there, I can experience it? Now I'm going to position myself to do so. I can't go to school. Maybe you're supposed to be the first. Just go apply. You do know applying is free.
Man.
It's free. I ain't got the money for school. We don't even know if you're going to get in yet. Apply. Then once you apply, well, I ain't got the money for books. Apply for a grant. There's no reason why anybody really should be paying for school.
At all.
My master's was paid for because of who you know. And there's money out there. People are literally begging people to do, like, I don't know if she'll ever say yes. You haven't even asked her out, but you've been looking at her for the last 4 or 5 years.
That's creepy.
That's really weird. That's very weird. I feel weird in this chair. There's probably somebody that sat here that's like infatuated like you. Why do we root for Joe, by the way, in that show? He's a serial killer who's infatuated. He kills everybody he loves. But
it was one season where I was like, man, I hope he gets through this. And then at the end, he just switched up.
Right.
Then he just switched
the
up.
third season.
Yeah, bro, I was like,
he's not just a psychopath. He's also dealing with like schizophrenia now. It's like, what is happening? I'm rooting for the bad guy. But I think that thank you, Holy Spirit. I think we get, hope that's not weird.
No, you're good.
I think we get to the point where we know how to root for a video game character more than ourselves. We root for the person in the movie, like, oh, go get it, go do it. Like, going through the theater did nothing for you. It put money in that person's pocket. I'm gonna try to keep the money in my pocket. I'm gonna go for it. Because I refuse to be on my deathbed with woulda couldas. So go for it, man. If you suck, you're going to suck, but you won't know. If you fail, you won't know. But like, hey, you want to go on a date? You nasty, you dusty. Hey, at least I know. Cool. At least I know. And a lot of people that we think are doing better than us, they just don't really care when they get the no. I'm expecting the no. So that way when I get the yes, I'm like, oh, I've never made it this far. I don't know what to do. When I ask my wife, hey, you want to go on a date? Yep. Oh.
So I wasn't expecting that.
What do you want to eat? I've never got this far. Never got this far. I don't know what to do. So I think that for people, we just really have to teach people how to live life. There's more to this life than Omaha. And that's the thing. Just go drive. There is a neighborhood I think everybody should go to here in Omaha. I don't know if it's called Newport Landing.
Oh, out in Bennington. Hey.
If you've can you afford the house? Most definitely not.
Nah,
if I sold me into slavery, my wife into slavery, and sold my son on the black market, still couldn't.
Bro, them houses. I'm sorry, I gotta hijack that, bro. I used to drive out to Newport Landing, even before this winter, bro. I would go out like every weekend, once a weekend. I'll take my kids out there. They'd be like, Dad, why are we driving out here? Oh my gosh! And then we get out there, bro, and there's these Hollywood houses. You seen the big old
on a lake,
the big old
bro.
greenhouse with the pillars that look like
talking about the joint dog. It looks like a clinic.
Yeah, with the glass window.
There's 12 garages,
bro, and it's for sale.
But here's the crazy thing. It's for sale, which means that, I'm about to, okay. We've been talking here for like 7 hours. Okay. You got 85 kids by now, right?
Also, real quick, we only got like, it's getting there. It's getting there. This memory card about to fill. Hit it.
I'm about to be done.
Hit it.
A house out there that is selling for $25 million, they don't put that price on it in hopes. There's somebody with the money. Why can't it be me? Because you don't see somebody going to spend $25 million crying. No, they're like, write the check.
Yeah.
So much so that there are people here in Omaha that only come back to live in their $25 million house when the sun is out. And when the snow comes, they go live somewhere else. And they're not Airbnb-ing.
They got their property.
They're paying the mortgage. Nobody's living in the house. Like they have property. Why can't that be me? So flip that to end it. Flip that to mental health. You mean to tell me I don't have to live in fear my entire life? There are people that have went through worse stuff than me that are out there and getting it. Oh, I got to do this. So go sit on somebody's couch. Matter of fact, come sit in this chair. whatever his price is, because there's something
We'll
here.
get you right in here. We'll get you right in here. Call to action. Call to action.
Run it. From me?
From you.
Okay. Call to action. Call to action. All right, I'm going to go here. Here's the call to action. Stop asking God to take away the pain out of your life that he put there on purpose. Learn from it. That's it.
That's a bar. That's a bar.
Stop trying to take the pain away. His grace is sufficient. And if it happened to you, he can make it work for you. But don't run away from it.
Real quick, y'all. Drop down in the comments. Let me know if we need to have a part 10 because we already got him booked for 2 through 9. Just let me know if we're going to have a part 10 because he's coming back for all them other episodes.
Yeah, man.
He's dropping gems.
Hey, can I plug the church?
Go ahead.
5417 North 103rd Street, Ambassadors Worship Center. We meet every single Sunday at 10 a.m. We're also online as well. If you're looking for a church, I believe that I've literally tasted in the air that this is the year that God is going to do his big one with our ministry. The same way which I've talked about this stuff is what we're going to be talking about. We're actually doing a sermon series on mental health. So I need to talk to you about that, where I really want to talk about how Jesus created our minds to work in a certain way. Prayer is most important, but we got to talk through that. This was fun.
This is fire. One more plug. Go ahead. If somebody wants to reach out to you, if they got questions, if they're not quite ready to get into church and they're like, I want to talk more about this. I want to figure out more what you're about. Where can they reach you?
For sure. You can reach me on our website, awcnation.org, or hit me on the gram. Speaking of Josh, it's the same everywhere. I respond to DMs and all of that. So it's the easiest way to get a hold of me.
There we go. Yeah, this is good. We're going to have you back, bro.
Hey, man, don't get me started. We might start our own pod, bro.
Hey, come on.
Don't do me because I've been looking for a partner.
Listen, don't say that.
I ain't gonna lie.
Don't say that.
There's too much happening out there that I just want to be like, ooh, turn on the mics.
Facts. This is good. We out, y'all.
Hey, man. I know the cameras are still rolling, but I'm with it. I'm coming back. I got to. And if I don't come back, it means that we ain't friends no more. Hey.